We're making the most delicious oat flour dinner rolls made high in protein with Greek yogurt. They do not require any yeast or rising and are ready in 30 minutes. They're an easy alternative to yeast rolls that can be made gluten-free but are just as tasty. Hello, my name is Nicole Bonilla, and if you love healthier recipes to our favorite foods, then you are in the right place. To make these rolls, we're going to start with Greek yogurt, and you'll need to make sure you're using Greek yogurt instead of regular yogurt. As you can see, the Greek yogurt is much thicker, which is necessary for these rolls to rise. So we're going to add 2 1/4 cups of Greek yogurt to our bowl. You'll also want to make sure that it's unsweetened. And for a little bit of sweetness, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of honey, and I'm just going to pour it right on top of my Greek yogurt. Now you're welcome to jot down the ingredients as we go along, or you can click on the link that's in the description below, and that will take you to the full recipe with all the details. Next, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, which is just going to help soften the rolls as well as add a little bit more flavor. And then I'll just take a whisk and mix these together until well incorporated. Next, we want to add our dry ingredients, which includes oat flour. Now you can use store-bought oat flour, or if you have quick oats or old-fashioned oats, sometimes called rolled oats, then you can just grind your own oat flour. Now you could use a food processor or high-speed blender. I'm just going to use my blender cup. So I've just filled it almost to the top with some old-fashioned oats, screwed on my lid, and then I'll take this over to the base and quickly grind it for about 15 to 20 seconds. So that only took about 20 seconds. And now you have this perfectly fine oat flour. So now we can measure out 1 2/3 cup of oat flour. Now the oat flour is going to give these rolls a really nice kind of grainy texture, but I find it helps to add in a finer flour just to help smooth them out a little bit. So I'm going to add 1/2 cup of some gluten-free flour, and this is made without xanthan gum. And the gluten-free all-purpose flour by King Arthur that has no xanthan gum is my favorite. Next, we're going to add 4 teaspoons of some baking powder. And it's very important that your baking powder is fresh so that your rolls will rise. And then we'll add 1 teaspoon of some baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then we'll use a little bit of elbow grease while we mix this all together in our bowl. So I find it works best to just kind of scrape and turn my bowl as I go. You could also use a dough hook on your mixer if you prefer. And I like using just a sturdy spatula because you can go through and just kind of mash the Greek yogurt and blend it into all the dry ingredients. Now this dough is going to be much different than a regular yeast dough in that it's going to be quite sticky, but that's okay because that's exactly how we want it. So you'll know it's the right consistency when it's picked up all the flour on the bottom of the bowl, but it sticks to your fingers when you touch it. To bake these rolls, I'm going to use an 8x8 pan, and this will give you 9 rolls. And I like to line it with parchment paper first because that makes it really easy for getting the rolls in and out of the pan. But you could just use the pan without the parchment paper if you prefer. So I've lined it with my paper, and then I'll give it a quick spray on both ends. Now to shape the rolls, we want to divide them into 9 equal portions. And I find it works easiest if I use my 1/3 cup batter scoop, but you could use any large spoon. So I'm going to scoop out almost a full scoop and then just arrange them on a plate. Now that I have 9 rolls on my plate, but I still have some extra dough, so I'm going to go through and just kind of evenly distribute it over the tops of the 9 rolls. Now shaping these rolls is a little bit different than a traditional yeast roll, and we're just going to be rolling it in our hands. So first we want to remove any excess jewelry, and then to keep the dough from sticking to our hands, we want to go ahead and pour a little bit of some light olive oil or any oil that you have on hand. And then we'll just pick up one of our rolls, roll it together in our hands till it's a nice smooth ball, and then just set it down inside our pan. And then we'll just repeat for all the rolls. If you could use more healthy inspiration on a regular basis, I invite you to join my email list. All you have to do is click on the link that's in the video description below, and that is the best way for us to stay connected. Now that we've shaped all our rolls, we want to give them that really nice golden crust on top. So I've separated 1 egg white from an egg yolk, and then I'm just going to take a pastry brush and then brush the egg white right on top of each of the rolls. And you can make sure it goes on top of the roll as well as down the sides. And then as an optional but fun little garnish on top, I like to take some of the rolled oats or the old-fashioned oats and just kind of sprinkle them on top of each of the muffins. Well, these look fantastic, and they are ready to go into a 375-degree oven for anywhere between about 25 to 27 minutes or until the tops turn a really light golden brown. Well, here's a batch I made earlier, and they are gorgeous. Now, as soon as they come out of the oven, you'll want to let them cool in the pan for a few minutes, and then you can just very easily lift them up and out of your pan and then allow it to cool. They have a nice golden color on top, and I love the aesthetic of the oats. And they pull away just like a traditional pan of rolls. And then you can either cut it open or go in with your fingers and break it open. So you have a nice lumpy fluffy roll. Oh, that looks so good. Now I do want to manage expectations that these are not going to be exactly like a really light and fluffy yeasted dough, but these are a fantastic alternative that also taste amazing. And my favorite way to enjoy these is with a little bit of my homemade strawberry jam. That is so good. As soon as you bite in, you get that nice spongy texture, and then you get that depth of flavor coming in from the oat flour and the little bit of honey. And I would never guess there was Greek yogurt in this, but it just adds a really delicious tang, which kind of mimics the taste of a yeast bread. And I love that they're made so quickly and easily, and they're much higher in protein and made with all natural, clean ingredients. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today in my kitchen. I've included a link to this full recipe, and it's in the video description below, and that takes you to my website, gentletummy.com. And I also invite you to like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I cannot wait to have you hang out with me again in my kitchen.